Hello and welcome back. So welcome to my little vanity area. So I thought I would just do a little minimal makeup collection, and I'm just going to take one drawer, and I have a couple of boxes that are spare that I'm going to fill with what would be my minimal makeup collection. So this is just a bit of fun. So I hope that you enjoy this little mini makeup collection if I were just a normal person with a normal amount of makeup. So yeah, let's get into it. So I have these two containers here. At the moment I have 7 of these that are filled with product. So we're going to be limiting it to 2. So I'm going to pop in my Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. This is a mini version. If I didn't have other primers in my collection, I would probably just use the full size, and that would be fine for me. That would be everything that I needed and more. It just gives you a really nice natural glow, a nice lit from within glow, and I really like this mixed in with foundations. You can also use it as a liquid illuminator as well, so kind of negates the need for an additional cream highlight in your collection. So I'm going to add this one in. Oh, and by the way, this is in the shade Too Fair. So I think I would have a couple of foundations to choose from. I would probably have something a little bit lighter, more of like a skin tint or tinted serum, and then I would have a more traditional medium to full coverage foundation. So for the lighter coverage option, I have opted for the L'Oreal True Match tinted serum. I also really love the True Match foundation as well. That is a really excellent medium to buildable coverage foundation. This one is a tiny bit lighter. I don't love the pipette applicator. It just gets a bit messy, as you can probably see. But I think even with a more minimal collection, I would like to have a couple of different options for my base products, because I feel like I would want to be able to customize. Some days I maybe wouldn't want so much coverage, but if I'm going out in the evening, then perhaps I would want something a bit heavier. So this would be a really good, just easy everyday pick for me. And the shade of this is 2 to 3 light. I will say that the shade range, bear in mind it's in the True Match range as well, which normally L'Oreal is really expansive in terms of shade ranges. This doesn't have that many shades to choose from, but 2 to 3 light works well for me. And then for something a little bit more impactful, with a little bit more pigment, I have gone for my NARS Sheer Glow. This is just such a classic foundation formula. It really has stood the test of time, not only in my collection, but I think in the makeup market in general. This is still a bestseller from the brand, and I'm yet to try any other NARS foundations, but I would really like to. But this one is just such a nice medium coverage foundation. It has a nice satin finish on the skin, so in the evenings it works really well because it's not too dewy. But I do have dry skin, so it's not overly matte either. It's just a really nice, classic, traditional foundation. I did buy a pump for it. I don't know if they come with a pump these days, but they never used to, so I did pick up the pump separately. For concealer, I would probably just have one concealer, honestly. Typically I use concealer under my eyes, and then if there's any left on my brush or my sponge, I will just dot that around my face, but I only really use concealer underneath my eyes, so I don't really feel the need to have a plethora to choose from. So this Rose Inc one is really nice. This is the shade LX30, which is a touch lighter than my skin tone, so it works really nicely to brighten underneath my eyes as well. And it's a really nice creamy formula. It's a little bit thick, but I find it to be really hydrating, and as you can see it does have quite a bit of coverage to it as well. So I feel like this would just be a really good, oh I've got it a bit mucky there. Yeah, I think this would just be a really good standard classic hydrating concealer. Has enough coverage for every day, but I can build it up if I want to, and I don't think I would really need any other concealer. So that's my concealer pick. For face powder, I would again just have one. Oh, you can see my face, hello. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder, one of my absolute faves, as you can see, because I have quite the pan going on in here. I would just have one pressed powder. Honestly, even now with my large and expansive collection, one face powder would still be absolutely fine and I would not complain. This is definitely my favourite face powder that I've tried. So finely milled, it's like undetectable on the skin. It's just really beautiful, and it does leave your skin with a nice airbrush finish. So I'm going to include my Hourglass palette. This is one of their unlocked palettes, is it? Ambient edit palette, I don't know, whatever they're called. They come out with these every single Christmas. I'd probably get a lot of use out of a palette like this. It kind of gets swallowed up a little bit in my collection at the moment because I have so many individual blushes and bronzers that I reach for over this palette, but if I had a smaller collection, I think a palette like this would be really good and really versatile and also excellent for travel. So you do have one of their setting powders here. They are really lightweight, really luminous as well. You then have a few blushes and then one of their strobe powders as well. But I think if you have a smaller collection and one of these Hourglass palettes really catches your eye, the colour story is great and it would work really well for your skin tone, I think that it is genuinely a really good buy. So I wanted to include a cream and a powder bronzer because I do like to use both, and I think even if I had a smaller collection, I would still like to have the option between a powder and a cream. So for my powder bronzer, I've gone for my Charlotte Tilbury. So this is in the shade 2 medium, I think. Yeah, this one works really well for me all year round. It's a really nice buildable formula. It's not too warm, but it's also not super neutral. If you have the Bronze and Glow duo, I probably would have included that as well actually, but I've finished mine up. Yeah, this is warmer than the bronze shade within that duo, but it's not overly warm. So for me it works well in the winter, works well in the summer, and you get a huge amount of product in here, about 16 grams, so it's going to last you a really long time. So I think this would be my powder bronzer pick. And then for my cream bronzer, I really don't think you can go wrong with the e.l.f. Putty bronzer. It's really cheap and the product itself is really lovely. This is a bit more of a warm toned cream bronzer, as you can see. But yeah, I love this, really easy to blend, perfect for every day. It's quite a sheer colour as well. It kind of blends away super easily, so really good for beginners. And yeah, definitely one of my favourite cream bronzers that I've tried. So I would definitely include this. Blush was quite difficult to pick out which one or ones I wanted to include in this little mini makeup collection. So I have got 4. So I've got 2 creams, 2 powders, and I feel like that's fine. So my more kind of everyday neutral cream blush that I've picked is Charlotte Tilbury's First Love. And as you can see, this is just a really nice dusty pink. It's pretty like inoffensive as blushes go. Like it's not gonna add a ton of pigment. So if you have like a smoky eye or something, it's not gonna take away from that and give you like clown cheeks. It's really natural, a really beautiful pink shade. And I think for every day, this is a really excellent shade to go for. Kind of get 2 in 1 as well, because you have the slightly darker shade in the middle and then you have the lighter shade around the outside. So you almost get 3 products in here because you can use 2 shades individually and then mix them together. So there we go, very versatile. My second powder blush, I have opted for this Benefit one. So this is in the shade Sunny. And this is probably what I would use in the summertime because it's such a beautiful coral shade. As you can see, I mean, what a stunning colour. This is one that I used all summer long. I just love it. You can't go wrong with the Benefit box blush or one of their box bronzers. They're just such a lovely formula. And not too expensive either. Definitely that mid-range price point. But yeah, this is a really lovely bright coral, and I think in the summer this would be the blush I would want in my collection. And then for my creams, I've gone for a more everyday pick. So this is the Rose Ink blush in Wisteria. This is fairly new to my collection, but I love this shade. It's just so pretty. Really lovely, like long-lasting formula. And I think this is probably like my favourite cream blush of all time. The formula is really nice, and I know the shade is quite new to me, but I think this is like my perfect everyday blush shade. So that paired with the amazing long-lasting formula makes this cream blush just come out on top for me, so I had to include this as well. So I just did a really quick last minute switch. I was going to include my Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm wand, but instead I have made a quick change, a last minute substitution for the e.l.f. blush stick in Glistening Peach. I think I prefer the way that this looks and blends out on the skin. It's not an exact dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury. Oh my god, I just dropped it on the floor. But it does give you a little bit more glow, as you can see. And this is a really nice peachy pink, a nice blush topper as well. I feel like if you're going for a slightly more everyday, really dewy skin look that's really fresh, I feel like this is a really lovely blush for that type of look, because it is quite dewy on the skin. and it's a cream as well, so it just looks a bit more juicy. So I think that would be it for complexion based products. I'm really happy with that actually, and I don't feel like I would be missing out on anything. So for my brows, honestly, I would just have a tinted brow gel. Love a tinted brow gel. It just does everything for me. It fills in the brows, it sets them, you can shape them, you can add a little bit more oomph without having to spend 10 minutes trying to perfect brow hair like strokes with a tiny pencil. So this is my favourite one at the moment. This is the Kosas Air Brow Gel. It has a really nice mini wand. I need to repurchase this at some point. It's running a little bit low, but yeah, for me, I think a tinted brow gel is fine. I don't need a lot through my brows. They are quite thick. This is what I've been reaching for every day at the moment, and I actually haven't been using my e.l.f. Precise brow pencil a lot at all, so I think I would be fine with just a tinted brow gel. Okay, so I think we're going to move on to this bin now for the rest of the eye products and lips as well. So for eyeshadow, I would probably have a cream eyeshadow, definitely. So I'm going to include my Chanel Patine Bronze. This is just a really nice one and done eyeshadow. Mine is quite dry now. Again, if you've watched my Project Pan series, this is one that I've been trying to get through. I do have to revive it with a bit of setting spray, but I can get it to work. But I think I would still have a really nice, easy, one and done cream shadow. And I mean, these little pots from Chanel are just so beautiful. And then for an eyeshadow palette, I would be fine with one eyeshadow palette. I don't have a huge, extensive palette collection anyway. So I've gone for the Nabla Side by Side. This is a really nice neutral palette. It has pretty much every neutral shade that you could possibly desire. You've got some really nice cool tones down here. You have a lot of warm tones, a really nice matte black, which I think if you're opting for one palette that you want to be really versatile, having a good matte black is absolutely essential. Really nice crease shades as well. I don't know, it's just a really well curated neutral palette, and I think if I could only have one in my collection, I think this would be everything that I would need and more. So this one is definitely going in. It was a bit of a toss-up between this one and the Sigma and the Tarte, to be honest. The Tarte and Bloom is a really classic neutral palette, but I think that one at the moment is what I've just been really enjoying. I would also need a couple of eyeliners in my collection, so I've gone for a pencil and a liquid as well. So for my pencil, I've gone for the Urban Decay Glide On in Demolition, which is quite a nice cool toned smoky brown. Really lovely formula, super, super creamy, and just a really good kind of a staple liner. You can really rely on this one to stick around, but they blend really nicely. They stay on the waterline well. A really good all-rounder, and I think the shade is a tiny bit lighter, obviously, than the black. It will be a bit softer on the eye, but it still will give you the definition. And then I've also gone for a liquid liner. I really like liquid liner, especially in the evenings if I want to just oomph up my look a little bit. I think adding a tiny wing, I don't go too crazy with liquid liner, but I do think having the option to add a nice wing is pretty essential for me. This one is from Paul & Joe. Really good liner. I find that stays put really nicely. Mascara is quite an easy one. I have one in my collection anyway, and I don't think that would change with a more minimal collection. So this is the one that I have on the go at the moment. It's the e.l.f. Lash and Roll. A really good defining mascara, really nice for every day. You can build it up to get a bit of volume, but I think this is more geared towards adding length and definition. And I don't think you can go wrong with a drugstore mascara. I think they are really, really good for the price. This one, I believe, is under £10, and yeah, really good. Lips is going to be a bit tricky because I feel like you can really change up your look depending on the lip shade that you go for. So this might be where things get a bit less minimal. And we have some room to fill here. But before I do that, I am going to throw in a setting spray. This is the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mist, a really lovely, hydrating, dewy setting spray. It's the only one that I have in my collection currently, so this one is going to be going in. So for a natural, everyday lip liner, I've gone for NYX Natural. It goes with a lot of different nude lipsticks I have, and this NYX formula is really, really good, and they're pretty cheap as well, so I feel like I would definitely have a couple of these in my collection. Another NYX one that I really like is the shade Leon. So this one I picked up this year, and it's a little bit more punchy, a bit more saturated than Natural. It has a bit more of a warm undertone to it, so it works really nicely with warm nudes. I have a couple of almost like warm coral shades, which I really enjoy pairing with this lip liner. And I really enjoy the wooden pencils from NYX. I think they are an excellent lip liner, and only a few pounds, they're not going to set you back too much. So I really enjoy these, and I think those two shades are pretty good everyday staples for me. I thought it would be a good idea to include a red lip liner as well, just for those days where I want to wear a red lip. So this one is Charlotte Tilbury's Kiss and Tell. Really punchy, really vibrant, as you can see. Also love the Charlotte Tilbury liners. Really creamy, but they stay put beautifully throughout the day, which I think is what you want for a red lip liner. You do not want this to be slipping and sliding around the place. So yeah, this is beautiful, a bit more of a raspberry red, and I think having one red lip liner is a smart move. So I need an easy everyday nude. So I pulled out, oh no, that's Red Carpet Red, that's not the right shade. So I pulled out Bitch Perfect from Charlotte Tilbury, which is a beautiful creamy nude. I mean, this is so stunning. I've gone through quite a lot of it. I don't have that much left. This is a really beautiful shade that goes nicely with the lip liners as well. A bit more peachy, but I quite like that. I don't like a super flat nude. So for me, something with a bit of shine and a bit more of a peachy pink undertone works really well for me. So this would be my nude lip option. I would also need a staple summer shade, and this is that for me. This is number 10 from Tom Ford. This is one of their sheer lip colours. Oh, this is just so stunning. Like the white packaging, everything about this to me just screams luxury. Quite a sheer formula as well, but just a beautiful, beautiful pink. And again, if you have less products, it means that you can splurge a little bit in a few categories. And I think lip products is a really nice way to splurge, because I think it just feels so luxurious, like taking this out your handbag. I mean, so for a slightly more tinted, hydrating lipstick option, I've gone for the Fresh Sugar Lip Balm in Spice. This is also a bit warmer than the shades that we currently have, so I thought this would be a nice addition. So if I just swatch it next to the shades, it's probably most similar to Bitch Perfect, but I don't know, you can probably see there a little bit better. It has a bit more of a warm orangey undertone to it. I really like this paired with Leon from NYX. That's a really nice everyday lip pairing. These are really hydrating, really easy to wear as well. And again, just another nice everyday lip option. Then for my red, I've gone pretty bougie with this one. So this is the shade 338 from Givenchy. This is a really beautiful red shade. I don't wear red lipstick a lot, to be honest. It's probably something I will wear New Year's Eve and then put it in my drawer for another year. This is a really nice one. I'm going to try and swatch it next to the red lip liner. So you can see they're quite similar. They both have that slightly more pinky raspberry undertone. A bit more cool toned, which I think makes your teeth look whiter. The packaging is a tiny bit garish. I think this was a limited edition last year, but the shade is permanent and it is one of their Rouge Intense lipsticks. So really pigmented, as you can see, but super creamy, but really, really nice and creamy. And I think everyone just needs that really nice staple red lip. So I now have a few gloss options. I'm going to go for the most pigmented one first, which is this Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Reef, which is a beautiful coral. This is quite a creamy pigmented formula, as you can see. And I think that's nice if you want not a traditional lipstick, but you still want the pigment, but you want something a bit creamy, a bit more glossy. This is a really, really beautiful one. They have quite a lot of shades, and the shades are quite similar to the Fenty gloss bombs as well. I think Moon is a really good dupe for Fussy from Fenty, but Reef is one of my favorites because I think it's just a nice summer lip gloss. Then another one that is a bit more pigmented is the Lisa Eldridge lip gloss. This is in the shade Muse. This is one of my absolute favorite lip glosses of all time. I will be featuring this in my favorites video for 2023, spoiler, but I just love this. It's such a nice nude color. Has a bit more of a mauve undertone to it, which I find really suits my skin tone, my hair color. I don't know, I just really like how those mauvey rose tones look. And this is a really nice hydrating lip gloss as well. Not as pigmented as the Maybelline, as you can see, it's a tiny bit more sheer, but a lovely, lovely formula. I did want to include a lip oil as well. So this is the Clarins Apricot lip oil. Love lip oils at the moment. Probably something I wear pretty much every single day. It does pull a tiny bit orange on camera, but on the lips it looks quite clear, to be honest, and I find that it goes really nicely over a couple of these lip liners that I have. A really beautiful formula, very plush, and yeah, lip oils are really trendy at the moment, so I did want to include one. And the Clarins formula is just really beautiful. And then for my last lip option, I wanted to throw in my Laneige Grapefruit Squeezy Tube Lip Balm. This is probably one of my most used lip products. And similarly to the Clarins lip oil, it's pretty sheer. Obviously, it's just a tinted glossy balm, but such a beautiful formula, really hydrating. Love the smell of this as well. Really nice, fresh, citrusy grapefruit scent. It gives a similar effect to the lip oil, to be honest. This is a tiny bit more sticky. The Clarins one definitely feels smoother on the lips, but this is just a nice option if you want something a bit more pinky. And I keep this one in my handbag at all times. So this is my collection if I didn't have another 6 bins full of product. These are my kind of staple everyday products, really versatile, and I would be very happy if this was my minimal makeup collection. So I really hope that you enjoyed. I will have a full collection coming next year, and I will go through these drawers in more detail and have a proper organise. So make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss that. In the new year, it will be coming in January. And yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!